Welcome to the Instant Gaming Podcast, episode 39
Very good.
for December 25th.
Very good.
2014.
Hello.
Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong.
And Joel.
We're inclusive here.
Wait.
Joel, here's a present for you. Your very own business card.
Oh,
Wow, it's got my name on
It
it.
is literally his very own.
I was thoughtful.
Did you eat any of my delicious Hanukkah cookies?
I had
Oh,
to do
yeah.
that.
I ate the dreidel-shaped one.
They're delicious.
It was really good. Where'd you get those anyway?
From Victor Benes.
Aha! I know nothing about that.
Get the fuck out of Deep Scan. Let's play some.
You do play Deep Scan to get extra lives in the actual game.
So this episode of the Instant Gaming Podcast is probably brought to you by some sort of sponsor, but since we're recording this in the past, and you are listening to it in the future,
What?
I don't know what that sponsor is yet. So
Oh, wow.
Don't worry about it.
future Lawrence is going to
So they
tell
would
you.
have heard it already.
No, they're going to hear it now.
Oh, there it is.
Future Lawrence here. There actually is no ad here, so that's our Christmas present to you. Don't spend it all in one place. And we're back. So we're going to talk about what our personal favorite games of 2014 were and are and will be. Adam,
Hi.
lead us off.
Oh, wow. Well, I think right off the bat, the first game that I went, I must remember this game so that I don't forget it because it's going to be really good. Wolfenstein New Order.
Yeah.
That was easily one of my favorite games. Really caught me off guard that
one are you?
That the game would be good or as good as it was. We said it before that we made a comparison to Half-Life.
Shirt or blue
Yeah.
shirt?
Half-Life 2 before.
Sure. How do you know?
Oh, you got to pause for the series Die Hard talk.
No, it's fine. It's barely Die Hard. I mean, this could be my game of the year.
They're on Nakatomi Tower. That's what that is.
Why did we start here?
We can.
Got on the roof.
Yeah, that's the chick from Die Hard.
It's his
Sorry,
wife
go
or
ahead.
whatever.
Go ahead.
Anyway.
It's the female John McClane.
Is that from Die Hard 2?
It's from Die Hard 1.
Go ahead, Adam. Go.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, sorry, I lost track.
I don't know why.
Yeah, going down Wolfenstein. Like, it's one of those games where, you might look at it and say, typical first-person shooter, but like, beginning to end, it's just really fun. They put a big focus on the single player. I thought that was a great idea.
Oh, that's all there was.
No
There was
multiplayer, yeah, and it's just like, I mean, you can go back and watch our review, but like,
Yeah.
Lawrence basically gushed all over it, and that pushed me into playing it, and it just ran really well on PC. From what I heard, it ran really well on consoles.
Yeah, it did. I played it on Xbox One, and it was a solid 60. Now, I will say it's at 60 FPS on the Xbox One. There were some scenes where I could pretty much tell that it dipped in resolution just
Yeah.
to maintain that. But there were maybe 2 parts in the game that were noticeable with that. So it was technically very sound.
Yeah, and I don't want to go too many. I mean, the only other game I could really, I think I can gush about is probably Far Cry 4. I mean, surprise, surprise, I picked 2 first-person shooters in my favorite games of the year. Both with a strong single-player focus, open world. One was open world, one had a linear gameplay, so you can tell my kind of stylings there. But yeah, Far Cry 4. I mean, once again, it's like very similar to Far Cry 3. We kind of talked about it before. You and I still need to do our review.
Yeah. I tell you, no, I started it, and I think I'm at the point now where they basically introduced all the mechanics. And I want to talk to you about it because I'm still not really feeling it.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
wow.
Well, we've just been slammed here, going through all the videos that we've been making. But yeah.
Any other high points?
I'm trying to think of just kind of like little games. There's one that I would say would be a big runner-up would probably be Strider.
Oh.
That was kind of a game that got lost in the ether pretty early on, but
right, it
very
did.
very downloadable game. And then another one. This one doesn't really count, but Game of Thrones, the Telltale game. It's only 1 episode, so it's hard to say right now whether that's going to be a game. My favorite game of the year. But the 1 episode was freaking fantastic. So I like when we started this podcast, Lauren said, "No, you don't need to use your brain to play this game."
Man, I love it though.
Bruce,
So much
I
fun.
know what I'm saying. Bruce and James are completely checked
Never been
out
more
We're
Of
talking
the
about your
conversation.
stuff. We're talking about your games.
Yeah, they have no opinions on your
Yeah,
games.
why do we have to talk about your games for
Oh, you can chime in if you have questions.
James, did you play
I'm just gonna
Wolfenstein?
shoot this guy.
I played. Yeah, I played.
I was waiting for it to get around to me.
Either way. Okay, well, those are my games, so you can move on.
What do you guys think about those games?
I think those are good choices,
you.
except that I didn't play all of
Well, I
those
didn't.
choices.
I didn't play Strider, and I saw him play Strider for a couple hours, and I'm hard pressed to think that it's game of the year.
Strider?
But
Yeah.
but
Strider.
you seem to really enjoy it. So I'm like, you know what? If Adam Covey,
I didn't say it was I just said it was like enjoyable. I said it was a runner up.
I played it for one evening, and I was like, "Ooh, this is fun."
I was basically the same way. Yeah. I I started Strider and it was like Strider, Strider's back. It's like okay, here we go, Strider. Hit start. It's like normal or hard. And I was like, Strider, come on, it's hard. That was a mistake. That game is no joke.
Man, I don't play games on hard. I ain't
game's
got time for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's been a long time since just like basic enemies killed me in any video game ever.
Wow, you're that good.
Whoa, look at you,
It's
cool
actually
guy.
not true. You played Dark Souls too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But that's the point of Dark Souls. It's renowned for that.
I apologize.
We're continuing down the list. I think it's Bruce's turn.
My turn.
Sure. Bruce, what are your games 2014?
Well, so I didn't get to play nearly as many games as you guys did, which bums me out because I really want to play like Far Cry, and I actually wanted to play Civ, Beyond Earth, and I didn't get to play that. And just that's
Still
part of it.
time. There's still time.
Yeah, but
worry,
now
Blue.
I gotta and I wanted to finish Wolfenstein. I didn't get to finish Wolfenstein.
It's pronounced Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein, but the game that I played the most, and probably because I liked it the most, was Titanfall.
Yep.
And I enjoyed Titanfall because, again, yeah, I know we're a shooter crowd here, but it's the multiplayer that got me into that game and kept me playing. And it was one of those things that I could settle in, play for an hour, and be like, okay, that was good. I played my quota for the night, and then I can move on and then play again. And it was fun every single time, whether or not I got frustrated or whether or not we won. We could play with friends. I could even play alone, and I enjoyed it to a certain extent. Whereas, like with Battlefield, I don't. And I think that Titanfall I think to me felt like the most different first-person shooter I've played in a couple of years.
Would you say it's different or just refined?
It's both.
Really?
And that's
It's pretty different.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah. Oh, I'm just curious. Like, what's different about it?
well, compared to any COD other than Advanced Warfare, which came out after Titanfall, it's totally different in terms of verticality. So all the wall jumping and jetpacking and like jumping into a window and like snapping a dude's neck and stuff like that those were things that they advertised in the demo, and it was hilarious because I was like, there is no way I'm gonna be able to pull off any of that shit. And you were constantly pulling it off.
Yeah.
You were constantly doing it. And that's why it felt fast, but at the same time strategic and different, which those were all things that I did not expect to experience in a game that was made by Respawn. I did not at all, and because after a while I realized that strategy was actually played a part in Titanfall, whereas I never thought it would because of COD. Whereas and then Battlefield I was always like, oh, it requires a lot of strategy. Battlefield, you need to go here and you need to do this and you need to do that. No, that was fucking awesome.
Got completely horizontal in the air.
But yeah, I mean, like that to me was my game of the year. I played it the most, with good reason for me. So, oh, by the way, we never synced. We should probably sync.
Shit, you're right.
Let's do a sync.
All right. On unpause.
Yeah.
We're going to
Sync.
All right. Now let me make sure that the clap is actually in the frame. Boy. All right. Podcast. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Nice, good sync, guys.
Look at this tank gun.
Man, we're
Oh shit! Oh.
Damn it! Stop kicking me out.
Why do they allow that?
That's how all games were back then.
So, Bruce, I have a Titanfall question.
Yes,
for
sir.
you. Was there anything that you were disappointed with, or after you played it a while, was there anything that you wanted to be in the game that wasn't there, or do you have any hopes for a Titanfall 2?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I think when Titanfall came out, we immediately knew there would be a Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
And I thought the multiplayer, single-player experience was kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Didn't matter, though, because you only played through it to unlock Titans and weapons. And so it wasn't like I was listening to the story. The story was it was just BS. Whereas, in most games it is. So that didn't bother me. I wish that matchmaking had worked out of the gate. Because when we first started trying to play, it was a real pain in the ass. It took a long time. I've also heard that matchmaking is still kind of fucked up.
Really?
And the couple of times I've jumped on, it wasn't screwed up. But
Yeah, I dipped in like a couple of weekends just here and there a couple of months ago, and it was fine.
Yeah,
Totally
no,
fine.
that's what I heard. I just heard that it was messed up. That I haven't actually experienced that. So, and also we play on PC. We haven't played on Xbox 360 or Xbox One. So, if you guys have and then you experience matchmaking problems, that makes more sense. But
What?
Clean some lady out.
President's daughter. That's the
clothesline
president's daughter.
Boosh.
Yeah.
Wrong game for a podcast.
So so there you go.
Man, I gotta say, I was
Remember this part of Die Hard?
when he fights the
Oh,
robots
man.
in the circuit room. I was on the subject of I really like that Respawn was kind of courageous enough to release what is essentially a multiplayer-only game.
Yeah.
But part of me also wishes that there was a single-player aspect to it
Sure.
in some way, because
Yeah.
that setting's really cool, and it had a little more character than I was expecting.
Yeah, it did.
There's like the militia had the little robot that they put the little smiley face on, and then there's just like the vocal quips are just a little more charismatic.
I'm kind
than I was
of
expecting.
hoping what they do with Titanfall 2 is what the same thing I'm being wishful. I have wishful thinking for Battlefield. Battlefield, they keep trying to do this Call of Duty-esque single player that makes no freaking sense because it's nothing like the rest of Battlefield. And I was like, why doesn't Battlefield, like Titanfall, just embrace its multiplayer? And so basically get rid of the cinematic, heavy sort of cut, game like Call of Duty game.
And focus on multiplayer.
Well, just basically make single player, but like just put, drop you in a Battlefield, God forbid. And then
right.
you basically play a game of Control, a game of Diffuse, or whatever the hell the different game types are. You fly jets, you do all this stuff. And it's basically open world. You're like, complete these 3 objectives in an hour. Figure it out.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that's what Titanfall is going to be, where they're just going to be like, because they're kind of anti single player. It's probably going to be low on cutscenes and just be like, you know what? Here's a multiplayer map with a bunch of bots. Kill a bunch of bots and have fun.
Yeah.
See, I think that, like, to me, I feel like Battlefield tried that. The campaigns, such as they were for 1942 and Battlefield 2, and then like the first Bad Company were that way, and it was pretty boring because it was just AI.
It was still going through hallways.
People
and
love
stuff.
Bad Company. They loved the Bad Company 1 and 2.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, they just did. I mean, like, they loved it, though.
I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, the characters and writing were pretty good, but the game was.
I enjoyed the single player. I thought it was good just because you can blow everything up.
Bad Company 2 was good.
I never got to 2.
Oh, you never played 2?
was the better one.
Two's fantastic.
Well, see, I always wanted to finish the first one to like get to the second one because I'm a stupid completionist.
No. You need to just play the second one. It's really good on PC. Like
That was like me when Mass Effect came out. 3 came out. I was like, I should go back and play all of Mass Effect.
Ugh.
And I spent 2 hours playing Mass Effect 1. I said, I'm not going to do this.
That's enough. Also, another thing about Titanfall that I was surprised about, like we say this a lot with Destiny and I guess to a lesser extent Dark Souls, but it teases you with a little story, and then you're like, I wonder what else is in this universe, and then you sort of have to start digging on your own to find out what it is. I thought Titanfall was the most modern and most ahead of its time that any other game was this year, because that game could take the factions, like the IMC and the militia, and immediately make a television show or a movie out of it. No problem. Like, and that's something that I think most people would watch with Titans and fucking pilots. Like, it's awesome. It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So, live action.
They have something very simple to work with.
I tried to get into the story of Titanfall because really all it has is the campaign playlist, which is there's some extra dialogue thrown on top of a campaign map. And even that I couldn't follow because when you pick to play in the campaign playlist, it just drops you in a map rotation.
Yep.
So you can drop into like the 8th map and dudes are talking about stuff. You have no idea what's going on.
I know.
I kind of wish that they showed you the map rotation so at least you'd know, okay, this is level 1, and then start paying attention because I was just completely lost.
No, they obviously rushed that part out. The game worked though.
I feel like at some point they were like, oh, okay, we got to pick one or the other. Because it's a small team.
And they made the right choice, absolutely.
Oh, 100%.
It just it left me wanting more.
Yeah, same with me, which is good. I think it's a good thing.
Any other picks for 2014?
Like I said,
Chrome?
absolutely. Chrome was my game of the year.
2014 Game of the Year.
Bruce touched on it, but I really enjoyed Civ Beyond Earth. I thought it was a lot of fun. I was kind of worried that they would.
We're not
turn
to your
it-
section
Yeah,
yet.
you don't.
Did we say any more
Yeah,
thoughts on
people
picks for
can chip in
2014,
whenever.
or just Bruce's picks?
No, people
We're just
can
talking
chip-
Bruce
Just my picks. The podcast of Bruce.
We're actually going down the list of who's favorite. It's okay. Just play Titanfall.
Well, I mean, I had Liz in there. I was expecting people to have games, but nobody had time, so
That was fine.
it's okay. You can say whatever you want.
I was just gonna say,
whatever you
I
want.
was worried that they were gonna turn Civ 5 into a whole new game I needed to relearn again, but it wasn't that so much, which I guess you could criticize.
Yeah.
But it did feel like I could just pick it up and play it again, which I liked about it. And then another one that's probably going to be on no list this year, but should be, was Child of Light,
Oh yeah.
because that was a lot of fun throwback to a different kind of RPG era. And on top of that, the art style was really amazing, and the ability to play with like your friends.
I think a lot of people left that off the list because it was by Ubisoft. It's like an indie game by Ubisoft, and like, oh fuck that, that's bullshit.
Yeah, it is.
But
It
if
is
it's a fun game. It's a fun game.
That's the thing. It is funny how this game is kind of ignored because of fire trucks always driving by. No. I feel like it's kind of ignored because it is a Ubisoft game, so it can't get this, oh, I'm so cool
Right.
because I like it because it's indie kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
right.
And that's a shame. Because there's also Valiant Hearts, which I didn't finish. It was more of a puzzle game. But
Those are two games that Ubisoft did not really market at all. Valiant Hearts were like, check out this new game at E3. By the way, it's out. We're like, who does that? Like,
Yeah.
no one does that. And
Yeah.
Ubisoft's, we did it. I'm like, fuck you. And then no one played it. Or maybe people played it. I just, I don't.
well,
Blizzard
from what I heard, it was basically like they made this game as an outlet for the developers that were tired of working
Yeah.
on the same games over and over and over again.
It's almost,
Sequel
it's
after
almost like
sequel.
employer retention at some point. It's like, okay, I'm tired of making Far Cry. Let me make something crazy weird.
Yep.
What show would you like to make as employee retention? Because you're so sick of making Inside Gaming Daily in the podcasts.
I love doing all those things.
Yeah, we like what we do, Joel.
I just want to sleep.
Uh-oh.
I would just like to sleep.
Am I dead forever?
You might be. I think you ran out of lives. You got to play more scan depth. Depth scan.
Oh, fuck.
Scan,
Really?
scan.
You own this game.
It's an arcade game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
but,
is how.
but
you
this
gotta
is
be-
the
you gotta
console.
play- You
this is
used
the console
to play.
version.
I didn't do any
They're just
damage.
going to let you win for free? No. So one of the interesting things about Child of Light,
You guys used all my lives.
it it reminded me a
Blame us
lot
for
of
your
like
failure.
the late PlayStation, early PlayStation 2 era where like JRPG was a established genre, and there were so many of them that developers were getting really experimental with the gameplay mechanics. I remember like Valkyrie Profile 2 had you running around in real time on a grid, and then you would like hit a button to freeze time and pick an attack that would hit a certain area. And like if you clumped enemies by making them chase you, you would do bonus damage, and then you could like rotate between characters. Even Valkyrie Profile 1 was really weird. And it's like Child of Light with its mechanic of like using the bug or the fairy to slow down enemies or speed up your own or heal your own people
Yeah.
was a really experimental way to play with that kind of Final Fantasy-esque time gauge. And I thought it was like really clever, and it really worked well, and it had a unique identity, even though it was solidly a JRPG. Those things don't happen much anymore. Like the Tales of series is really the only game franchise that's still kind of trotting down that path.
Yeah.
No.
Was there anything else you wanted to say for your game of the year, James?
No, I mean, you guys touched Titanfall would be up there. The only limitation with Titanfall was that I felt like because it was purely a multiplayer experience, is like, hey, you're gonna play this game, you need an online connection. They should have done more with that. They should have had like weekly things, like weekly challenges,
Yeah.
and slowly rolling out new content and stuff like that. But they didn't, and that was kind of a.
Well, they just recently added that new like horde mode type thing. So like they're still supporting it, but you're just not playing it.
Well, even when it
I'm
was
talking.
active,
I've
wouldn't
compared
even
it
do
to
that.
Marvel Puzzle Quest,
Yeah.
where every single week. No, you laugh, but every single week,
It's fine.
every single week they roll out some new thing, and they're like, "Here's a new challenge. Do this,"
Yeah.
and that's all you have to do. Here's a new game mode, and we've seen since Forge and Halo, we know how simple it is to just manipulate things and change the game and find something new in it. So I don't understand why they could use that because it's going to be online all the
I
time.
actually always saw, was it Titanfall? I thought could be a good candidate for basically being a first-person MOBA.
Yeah.
If they wanted to, they could basically strip that game down, make it a free-to-play, and have no character progression other than just within the game itself. Create a 3-lane first-person shooter, and then like as you level up, you can like, you call on a mech, that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, and they could essentially get away with a free-to-play version.
Isn't that just basically Smite?
Yeah, basically, but you
But with
use
mechs?
it. But it's basic with Dota mechs. We've said it before.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I thought that's what
Throwback.
I kind of assumed that's what they were going to do with Hawken, and they never really did. And I look at Titanfall, I'm like, well, you start out as a little man, and you can get you can unlock better guns that they already have, and you can essentially replicate that pretty easy, at least in my mind.
Dota Max a 2014 game?
Dota mechs?
Did we invent that this year?
I mean, Sexroid Rooks?
Yeah, Sexoid
Sexoid
Rooks.
Yeah.
Did we? I can't remember.
I don't know. This whole year's just been a blur.
It has been.
We can barely think of the 2 games we completed.
All right. Real quick, we have to throw to another mysterious ad read, so Future Lawrence, take it away. Thank you, Future Lawrence.
God, he's so much more attractive than regular.
He really is.
Sounds a lot
and
better,
well
too.
spoken.
Poignant. I like
Breath
it.
doesn't stink either.
Can we hire him?
You're about to say something, Bruce?
Oh, I was going to say, so we all named a lot of games that we like, but I think we should stick to one and say it's our game of the year. So, Adam,
Really?
what is your game of the
Oh,
year?
there's so much more time to fill.
Oh.
We gotta wait till the end for that.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
Wow.
All right, so,
All right.
so I haven't said anything. I haven't played a lot of games this year, as
Except for
everyone
League of
knows.
Legends.
But I will say we've got 2 weeks. We're on break right now for 2 weeks. Our office is closed, and the game that I will be playing for sure is Shadow of Mordor. It's the one I've been looking forward to since E3. I'm very excited to have my own experiences in the land.
Ooh, experiences.
Maybe
bisexual experiences?
maybe-
Who knows? Maybe biracial, bisexual.
Whoa, that sounds awesome.
So I'll be playing that for sure, and then I'll also be playing, hopefully, some Civ Beyond Earth over the break.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because you go home, maybe you gotta read. Maybe I gotta drink so much I pass out. Who knows what's gonna happen?
You get almost no life for picking up that stuff. It's crazy.
I think it fills up your life for the next game, honestly. I think it increases your life bar for the next game. Press
It's
jumpers.
so far it's always been. I think in the last 4 years, it has been my yearly tradition over our break. We usually get like a week, sometimes 2 weeks off if we're lucky here at the office. This is when I play through Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty.
Oh.
And this year I was like, I'm going to play it over. I'm going to do it early because we got early copies, and I got that janky ass Xbox One copy for Assassin's
Oh,
Creed.
yeah, that's right.
I'm like, well, screw that. And then just never really got into Call of Duty, but I'm just going to end up doing that again. So those are two games that I didn't really. I mean, kind of on the same page as those games. Like I played a lot of Shadow of Mordor, and I got to a point. I think you get into like a new land, a new area, and I just went, yeah, I'm gonna take a break. I don't know. And I
The
haven't.
game's almost done once you get to that point.
Oh, seriously?
you
So
might
I'm
as
probably
well-
at the end.
You might as well just power through.
So yeah, I'm gonna finish it. But yeah, I guess I gotta add that to the list of games I'm gonna try to finish before the new year.
Just get over it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Joel, is there anything else you haven't have you played anything else besides League of Legends?
I
League of Legends.
think I finally played Portal 2 at the beginning of this year. So that's my game of the
Nice
year.
job.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Well, characterize your gaming experiences for 2014 at all. Like, how was League of Legends this year?
Pretty close to last year. Yeah.
You guys joke, but it's been a pretty exciting year in League of Legends.
Yeah.
They actually had a lot of updates, and the release schedule is much more accelerated, I think, than it had been prior.
Should hang on.
Well, they
Playing the whole
only did that
time.
this week, or I guess last week. Now
It's not
this is
Summoner's
there.
Rift anymore?
It's still Summoner's Rift, but they've updated
Joel,
it.
you wanna play?
No, I don't. Thank you. I should probably leave in 2 minutes. But the world of esports this year, I think, more broadly, has been really interesting. I think this is the year that, and we say this, I feel like we've said this in 2011 and 2012 and 2013, but I think generally in esports, you really saw mainstream reporting on it. People really realizing that this is a huge movement that when you have a front page story in the New York Times, not like, this is this weird thing, but like covering an event that is actually happening as if it were a sports match, that is, I think, a watershed year for esports.
Well, Bruce and I went on the radio to talk about it. It was weird. They were like, tell us about these esports.
Oh,
And
yeah,
we're
Call
like,
of Duty Championship.
What does the E stand for?
yeah, we're like, we don't know. No one knows.
Electric Eels.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sports.
Yeah, I tried following all esports for a while. One thing I've noticed is that with League of Legends, anything, it seems to require that you buy into it wholesale.
It does. I don't like the soap opera aspect of the league, like teams and all that bullshit. Honestly, I'll watch the matches and I get really interested in the plays and what happens on screen. But I don't like right now. Everyone's team swaps and trades. I don't fucking care about any of that shit.
What's
See,
that?
that's
What does
the
that
thing
mean?
I do care about.
Yeah, what's going on?
Oh man. Oh boy.
Oh golly.
What's Team Swap?
Okay, so in traditional sports, there's a season for trading players. That
The
was never
off-season.
Yeah, that was never established in esports, and also, like, it was just on a much higher rate. So a player would get traded around to multiple teams in a single season,
Oh.
and there was a bunch of shady shit, like a team would qualify for a league, and then they would get bought out by another team that didn't qualify. They would change the branding of that team, fire all the players, and bring in all their old players.
What?
So basically, a team could buy a slot in a league if they didn't qualify by playing.
Yeah.
So, and to Riot's credit, the second this stuff happened, they went and rewrote all the rules to try and not make it arbitrarily restrictive, but also say, okay, you're gaming the system, and we can't fault you for doing that, but we're going to make it so you can't anymore.
Man.
So they're putting these weird restrictions on how many times a player can trade teams, how many original players a team has to have by the time they finish the league from when they started.
Right, because from a sponsor's point of view, the sponsors want to be seen obviously in the final games of the whatever championships or tournaments are going on, and so to Lawrence's point, what would happen was, oh no, like my brand's not being seen, so I'll buy this team, replace the players, put my branding on it, and then it's
It's like Speed Racer all over again.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of the Wolf of Wall Street
Yeah.
for nerds playing.
And Matthew
League of
Fox
Legends.
was in Korea
Yeah.
playing in the finals this year.
Playing Faker's evil brother.
Matthew Fox.
Wait, the guy from Lost?
Yeah, he's
Speed
in
Racer.
He's in Speed
Racer
Racer.
X.
Racer
Ding
X.
dong.
Bruce still hasn't seen Speed Racer.
I have seen it and I liked it. I still don't remember that though.
Yeah, Racer X. It's
No
a big reveal.
No one ever remembers Matthew Fox.
Oh.
That's true. He is very unforgettable.
Oh yeah, there was.
What does this have to do with their favorite game?
Nothing.
Yeah, I'm really.
Favorite game?
Hey, it's
Well,
a game, baby.
Bruce was asking me, was it a big year in League of Legends, sarcastically, and my response was genuinely yes.
I don't know if I did
Yes,
that.
it was.
It seems to be. I mean, at least as long as I've seen it, it's definitely the biggest year. In terms like what we saw down at the Staples Center this year, like
Oh yeah.
That was
that-
insanity.
exactly. Like that's insane that a.
Deep scan. There you go. I don't want to.
Scan deep, baby.
I don't want this either.
Future Lawrence returns to let you know this episode of the Inside Gaming Podcast is brought to you by Crunchyroll. You can watch shows like Fate Stay Night, Parasite, and Log Horizon 2, and many more straight from Japan. Available as soon as an hour after premiering, and it's all professionally subtitled. Crunchyroll allows you to watch the ad-free anime online anytime in beautiful HD quality with no ads on all your devices. That includes iPhone, Android, tablet, or through your TV, using your Xbox, Apple TV, and more. As fans of anime, well, maybe just James and I, we respectfully ask that you support those making the media that you enjoy. To do that, go to crunchyroll.com/inside and get a free 30-day trial, or click the link in the show description below. For a limited time, you can get an entire month free when you sign up at crunchyroll.com/inside. All right, moving on. I guess I'll talk about my personal picks.
What's your favorite personal pick of the year?
I don't have
Lawrence?
a favorite really. I mean, you talked about Wolfenstein. That was definitely one of the probably the highest AAA game for me this year so far. Then again, I haven't played Far Cry. Really haven't given it a real shot yet, or Shadow Mordor for that matter.
Real quick, not to completely interrupt, but I was thinking back of all the reviews we did this year before we stopped doing, traditional reviews. Mm-hmm. How forgetful is Thief? Because that came out and no one talks about it.
So I think out of everyone in the world, I'm probably the one who's most primed to like Thief, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. It
We
was.
played it at your house, remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah. So it's Thief is it's exactly the game it should have been, but it's certainly not a game for everyone.
Oh, okay. Sell me on it.
Yeah, no, you have to be a patient man to like or enjoy Thief.
I was just curious where you stood on it, because I remember you saying really positive things about it as one of the more positive reviews out there.
Yeah,
But
it's-
it hasn't been, the word thief has not been uttered since then.
I still really like it, and I remember it fondly, but I know that that's a thing that's just for me.
Okay.
Because I was a huge original Thief fan. And it's one of those things where, good games can come out at any time, and they'll always be good. People have very fond memories for Thief, but I think it's one of those things where if it came out today, they would react very differently to it. I still like it, but Thief is definitely a game that's so stealth-focused that it's going to throw a lot of people off.
Interesting.
It's in a lot of ways it's even worse than Hitman or old Hitman in terms of just being brutal about stealth and
Right.
taking your time and observing,
Sometimes
waiting.
it's weird how games sometimes feel like that stuntman game. Remember that
Yeah,
stunt
where
racing game where it's like you
damn.
have to play this game exactly this way. That's the game.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, except that game had atrocious load times.
But every time you died, you had to reload.
Yeah.
Some people really like Stuntman.
No. I played it a lot, but
Yeah, I mean,
like
well, you
finished
had
it.
you
It's
had
weird.
to.
It's weird how it almost has this it's the same thing as playing Mega Man a lot.
Yeah, or-
what else the fuck am I supposed to do?
Well, except with Mega Man, it was rare that you would fuck up in the first 25 seconds and then have to load the game for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it was like, you're supposed to drive backwards, you went forward, it's wrong, do it again. You're like, wow, this is
I don't know if I ever played Stuntman.
Stuntman. It's actually
Bruce, we
it's
got to make you play Stuntman.
No, we don't.
You won't like it.
oh man, we should play it. That's a good idea.
Well, Ignition, the latest Stuntman, and I say latest, it was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
That one was a lot more forgiving. You could actually miss stunts and not fail immediately.
So Stuntman's my game of the year for 2014.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
No, not at all.
So besides Wolfenstein, what's
it's
your
accurate because I remember you brought up Edge of Tomorrow, or excuse me, Live Die Repeat. Stuntman is definitely one of those games. Thief is to a lesser extent, but it.
wait, what? We're talking about Tom Cruise?
Yeah, we are
What?
just in that redoing something over and over.
Oh,
Until
gotcha.
you're really good at
Until
it.
you memorize it, basically.
Gotcha.
And then you're just basically playing Digital Simon at that point.
Yeah.
Really complicated game.
Which is interesting because I think that's the way games used to be. And now I feel like games are going back towards that,
Some are.
like Dark Souls.
No.
Where I know Dark Souls isn't exactly like that.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like play this over and over and over until you get it right that one time, and then you get to move on. And I feel like we've moved on from that pattern because we can make games that are 14 or 15 hours long that give you something different to do, for 14 or 15 hour bonus. But it seems like people are kind of going back to that. They want to play that.
Yeah, you're right. Being brutally difficult was a way to mask a total lack of content. So a game like Contra that only has 5 stages, and if you know what you're doing, you can beat it in 30 minutes. Took a long time because it was so fucking hard.
Right.
Then again, back in the day, they had games that were long due to grinds as well, like Castlevania.
They also
2.
didn't have a save system other than random
that's right.
keys.
Yeah.
Now we have memory cards.
Yeah, but it was mostly
I'm just
password, so you had to
Yeah.
punch in a fucking.
Well, no, it's just interesting to look at the history of gaming and be like, people are like, man, games used to be hard. It's like, well, they were hard because they were only 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
And they needed to pad it somehow. That's something James always used to say when
Absolutely.
we talk about Dark Souls. But
I think that's a throwback. I don't think that Dark Souls they had to pad the game. I think they were trying to throw back because.
Dark Souls' challenge is for the most part fair. There are some, like mostly the bosses, it's unrealistic to expect anyone would beat them the first
try,
try.
yeah.
But most of the stages don't have just like bullshit, you will die here no matter what moments like most arcade games do. All right, well, moving on. There's one game that I really liked that most people didn't really think about. It's a game called Vessel. It's an indie game. And the idea is it's all about like fluid manipulation. It's you almost have like a Mario Sunshine, like a liquid pack that used to suck up certain fluids and spray them back out.
Is it like
yeah, I'm sold.
is that like Splatoon or?
No. It's a puzzle platformer, and the key is there are different kinds of fluids, and when they mix in certain ways, they have different properties.
Yeah.
So there's a fluid that, when it mixes with another, will gel up and get solid. There's one that will be very slippery, so things will slide over it. And then it's basically like physics-based platforming from that point on. There's like one where if you spray water into fire, it creates steam, and sometimes you need steam to go up into vents to power machinery that moves other stuff. Things like that. But it was like the puzzles were all very clever, and the thing that I remember really stuck out to me is the score. It was written by an electronica composer named John Hopkins, which always reminds me of Bob Hoskins, even though the name is completely different.
Mario?
Yeah, it was written by Mario.
Next time you grab someone, Bruce, press jump, right bumper,
Okay.
and then press A.
Okay, you got it.
You should.
But it was one of those like relaxing, solitary experiences that are kind of almost becoming their own thing.
I'm sorry.
Just like here's a very moody, minimalistic electronica soundtrack while you bump around in this weird world and solve these puzzles.
It sounds relaxing.
Yes, definitely was. So I enjoyed that a lot. And then I have to bring it up, Final Fantasy 14.
Technically, you're speaking of A Realm Reborn.
I am.
Okay.
Which still didn't come out this year, but
Didn't?
I don't know if MMOs count. No, I think it was late 2013.
Oh, jeez. I can never keep up with MMOs. I don't know what the latest patch was.
Well, the thing is,
Especially when they change their names.
yeah. Well, the reason I'm counting it is because they've been probably the most aggressive about releasing new and meaningful content of any MMO I've ever played.
I blew it. Failure.
I think the thing,
Look at his legs come off. wow.
one of the things that impresses me about that game is it so clearly understands what it is, which is weird because the original didn't at all. But it's full of just like really tasteful Final Fantasy throwbacks. It's actually got a really interesting system. Like every MMO at some point has like 15 different kinds of currencies and like a daily thing you can do. And it gets very rote to a point, and to an extent Blizzard kind of wrote that book with World of Warcraft. And 14 did take all those concepts but built on them in some very cool ways. So yeah, it's a fun game to play, and it's got great music, and it looks really pretty.
Well, it sounds like you keep going back to it,
Yeah.
even when nobody else is playing it. Like,
No.
are you playing it by yourself?
No, there are plenty of humans.
There's another guy.
Yeah. Oh, there was
Sometimes Tim gets on.
there was a Final Fantasy 14 convention in Vegas. A lot of people went.
No, but you didn't go.
No, of course not.
So I mean,
I would
like-
never be caught dead there.
So what I'm saying is, like, you kept going to play it alone, right?
More or less. I have a friend from my hometown that I play with, but yeah, mostly it's just me and my link shell. We're the Onion Knights.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, that's so cool.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Onion Knight was a class in Final Fantasy III.
I still don't know what you're
It's from
talking
Game of
about.
Thrones.
Yeah.
What's a class?
Job. Their
What's,
jobs.
what's Final Fantasy 3?
You play
Nintendo game that never
Star
came
Wars Galaxies. You know what class?
What's a Final Fantasy?
So those are your two games?
Which one of you
Two games
played
that
as
no
Cloud?
one else in the world has played?
Well, I picked ones that I didn't think you guys would pick. I was gonna
How
shuffle.
dare
around.
you?
I was gonna shuffle around so we all talked about something different, but my plans were foiled.
It's kind of sad, actually. Like, maybe I'm just getting. I don't want to think I'm getting jaded or anything like that. But like, well, no, I'm just saying. Like, I feel like there were more disappointments in games. I was like, oh my god, this was like.
Really?
There were some. Well,
There were some great games this year.
there's some real. Yeah, no, I agree. There were some really good ones, but there's some real letdowns, like Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed, mostly. I guess just Ubisoft games. Well, then Master Chief Collection.
Oh yeah,
Like just the broken online.
This was the year of Break Adam's heart. The rest of us were like, we don't really care.
Yeah,
But
I was really hyped for Assassin's Creed too. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be good stuff.
and then Master Chief. Poor Master Chief.
So real quick, we have another heart to break, and that is the viewer's heart because
Oh,
we
no.
have to pause for an advertisement.
Okay.
That doesn't
That's
break
all
their
right.
heart. Maybe they like it.
I'm sure they love it. Future Lawrence here to let you know this episode of the Inside Gaming Podcast is brought to you by World of Tanks. You can strategize victory on history's most epic tank encounters, including maps based on famous battlegrounds of World War II. World of Tanks is free to play on your PC. All you have to do is go to playtanks.us and use offer code MACHINIMA, which is in all caps, for awesome exclusive in-game items. Once more, that's playtanks.us and use offer code MACHINIMA, MACHINIMA, in all caps. Thank you, World of Tanks. Kill something today. Thank you.
I like that Future Lawrence guy.
God, he's an up-and-comer.
Yeah.
Man, when did John
Lucky-
McClane become a gymnast?
Lucky he's not here right
He's
now. So, I do want to talk about the disappointments this year, but before we get to that, let's take a little look-see at this whole list of all the games that came out this year and see if any of them stand out to you.
Oh, okay.
All right,
You're gonna go down the entire list of every game that came out?
Wait a minute, wait.
scroll down.
This isn't
even
right.
further. Even further.
No, these are events. Oh, is it below that?
Yeah,
It's
there you go.
No.
So I'm just gonna scroll through here.
I know what the first
Oh
one
my
is.
god.
Don't look. Don't look.
Oh, wait, no, that's iOS.
Oh,
Nice
yeah,
try.
James's Game of the Year came out on iOS and Android. Game of the Year, all years, all year.
I mean, none of us mentioned Smash Brothers or
That's a really good point.
Mario Kart. I mean,
See, I thought about Mario Kart, and I have a lot of fun with it. And there were a lot of nights where I would just play with the gamepad, like before I went to sleep. But I
here's a
think
big butt.
Well, so the lack of content didn't bother me. What bothered me was that they didn't, aside from just getting 3 stars on every Grand Prix and just playing over and over again until you get the coins to get stupid car parts.
Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. They're all the same game. I'm not saying they're bad games at all. They're just the same games.
Well, it's the same reason why I didn't say like GTA Next Gen is my favorite game. It's like, yeah, I really
Same deal.
I enjoyed the game last year, but it already came out.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
And I
why
enjoyed it then.
That's why, like, I felt like Titanfall was different enough for me.
Yeah.
But I mean, Smash Brothers is amazing. It was a great game.
Yeah.
But it's the same
It's
game.
the same game. Yeah. They just
Though,
improved.
again, as I've said it
There's
several
almost
times,
multiple
Smash Brothers
content.
does do a better job of celebrating everything that's come before.
Well, it's just an
whereas
orgy of
Mario Kart 8
Nintendo.
just feels like
Yeah.
the next increment in whatever.
And yeah, James, to your point, it would be really cool if, say, in Mario Kart 8, there was a Mario Kart 1 track that was all super pixelated, like let you drive into history a little bit.
Wouldn't it?
Adam, I know you liked Bravely Default a lot.
Really? Oh yeah, that was. Wait. Did when did Link Between Two Worlds come out? That was last year, right?
Last year.
Okay.
was
Yeah,
last
I barely ever play handheld games. Right now I'm playing Binding of Isaac on my Vita.
You also played Smash Brothers on 3DS for a while.
And I did play, Smash on 3DS. So I was like, this is kind of the weird year where I've actually been playing a shitload of handhelds. One of which was Bravely Default. It was like a real cool throwback to like old school Final Fantasy. I need to play it. I need to actually finish it. But man, it was surprisingly good. So yeah, I actually like that's a game that my big problem is I got big hands, and
Been there.
and playing
that mean?
playing.
what does it mean, Spool?
Means my hands cramp up when I hold things for too long.
Big man parts.
Ew,
It has
gross.
nothing to do with the size of my penis.
Never say that
I'm
again.
talking about man.
Or
What are
does it?
man parts? Like cars?
Yep.
Headers?
My exhaust fan. So
Ew.
regardless, my hands always cramp up whenever I play anything, even the 3DS XL. Like my hands just hurt. I don't know what it is. It's the nub or whatever.
You're clawing down too hard on that system.
So
Fan nub.
I kind of wish Bravely Default would come out like on the Wii or something like that, so I could play it with a controller.
Yes.
Kind of properly. Not that it's a game that really requires a lot of movement or anything like that. It's,
still,
it's a turn-based RPG, but it's a lot of fun. It was really good.
It's definitely a game that you want to like spend, just like sit down and relax with.
Yeah.
And if you're hunched over staring at a tiny screen, it's really hard to get into that frame of mind.
Right.
Yeah. Also, on top of that, a game that's not your typical sort of, AAA game, whatever the hell that means these days, but Fibbage. We have yet to play it here.
I've played it with a different group of people.
It's fun. It's a lot
with
of
other
fun.
friends?
How dare you?
Piece of shit.
And then another one I think we're all kind of forgetting is Depth.
Oh, Depth was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
I can't see it being fun for more than a couple hours.
Yeah, but I mean, it's,
Like, it's-
but it's
really-
also not $60. So.
Yeah,
It's
you're
really,
right.
really
Very right.
stressful. It's really stressful.
Yeah.
Man, it's fun.
but
Also, none of us played as the Sharks either.
Yeah, that's true.
Really good point.
don't have to.
Looking at this, there's a game that I would never say is like one of the best games this year, but it was really interesting, kind of along the lines of Child of Light. It's Lightning Returns, this stupid
Okay.
13 Final 13 game.
How do you keep track of all these numbers?
How does Square Enix keep it?
It's just you just have to have my mind. I don't know how it works. So here's like the premise is actually really fascinating. The entire game takes place in real time, or rather, there's just a clock that's always going, whether you're in combat or not. And you have 13 in-game days to save the world, and you do that by going around. And
Oh, I get it. Final Fantasy 13.
There's a series of story quests that you have to do to progress the plot, but this is where it gets Japanese. By like helping people by doing side quests, their gratitude turns into crystals that flies into a giant tree.
Yeah, like real
Hooray.
life.
And when enough crystals fly into the tree, it bears a fruit, and that gives you another day.
Oh, okay.
So basically, you do the story quest, and then you also try to min-max as many side quests as you can in the time you have to do them, because most side quests can only be done in certain time windows. So you're like looking at your quest list and kind of making a mental itinerary of how quickly you can circulate this world.
It's like Dead Rising.
Yeah, it's like Dead Rising. It reminded me a lot of Shenmue as well.
Uh-huh.
Just and then it's like, okay, I've got to be at the arcade at 6 o'clock to see this like stupid guy, and so yeah, it was a unique kind of gameplay system that that made you think a little differently about RPGs because you also don't really level up by getting into random fights. It was a weird progression mechanic. You had to buy pretty clothes and put them on.
Ooh.
I like it. You're talking my language.
Look, they know their demographic.
Girls?
No, Lawrence
And girl.
and Lawrence.
And look.
Anyway, it's kind of along the lines of what I was saying before. It's rare that there's a game that is pretty solidly JRPG, but also is very unique in its gameplay mechanic. It's not just, I got in a random fight, I pick fight from a menu, I won, I walk 3 spaces, I get in another random fight.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's worthy of noting that game, even though it's definitely not for everyone.
Sure.
Here's
Sure,
another
I mean,
game
I was
worth
sold on
noting.
it.
Die Hard?
Wolf Among Us
Oh yeah.
finished this
You
year.
finished
I did
it?
finish this year.
I did finish it. You bet. I finished that. All those Telltale games, as soon as the next episode comes out, I finish.
That's
So
good on you.
Wolf Among Us.
I need to be better.
Wolf
about that.
Among Us was really good. I had never read Fables, but as a standalone thing, it was really, really good. I like the art style, and it makes me excited for Game of Thrones.
They've got good storytellers.
They do have
Telltale.
really good storytellers.
They know exactly what they're doing. I'm never going to sit down and play that on a console or PC.
Oh.
I'll play it on like a mobile game or like a mobile tablet or phone or whatever.
That's what I was saying. I got kind of stuck with the episode format. Like I would start with the first one, and then they'd be like, episode 2 and 3 came out. I'm like, I just don't have time. Like,
Yeah.
Well, I
get-
got spoiled with the first Walking Dead because it had all basically come out by the time I had.
Just put all the way through it.
Right.
So I just burned through it,
Yeah.
but then this was the first one I had to endure episodically.
And was it
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, it was really good.
well, it's a little different than Game of Thrones. So like, Wolf Among Us, Walking Dead game. Like, I didn't really think like my wife would be into it, but we started doing game. We're both really into Game of Thrones, so playing the game, she was like, we both like looked at each other when we got to the end, and we're like, holy shit, we gotta watch the next one or
awesome.
play the next one, and it's not out yet. So I'm like, god damn it.
It's funny that you said watch the next one.
I mean, if you really think it's a video game, you're kind of kidding yourself.
Yeah, I know.
It's mostly watching.
Yeah,
Yep.
There's a couple
it's an
clicks involved,
interactive
but
story.
Yeah.
it's the updated version of a point and click adventure game, which I appreciate. It's like they figured it out. Good for them.
Yeah.
On the subject of uniqueness, which is clearly something I value given the games that I picked, Tomodachi Life also came out this year.
That's the one that you can't be gay in.
Yes, because
Oh.
Nintendo hates homosexuals.
That's right.
Oh man,
But it's a video game where the entire point is to just watch. It's kind of like The Sims, except it's even more oddball. And the draw of the game is to see what weird thing will happen next, which is
like The Sims.
sorta the appeal of The Sims is more, to me at least. It seems like here are these Sims that do these random things, and then you can create a narrative in your head around what it is. So when they're talking in gibberish and these bubbles are popping up, you kind of ascribe a certain flow to that conversation. Like, oh, he says he's bad in bed. When a bed pops up and then a red X appears, like, oh. Where Tomodachi Life, like, it's all written out, so it's not quite as abstract. But you will, like, you'll go to your Mii who's asleep, and then you, like, tap on your Mii's head, and then it goes into their dream, and they're, like, swimming through a sea of, like, socks, and then a giant head appears behind him, chasing him, and then he wakes up. It's just, like, every time you turn on the game, you see something just bizarre. And it's been not since old Sega days have I really seen a game like that.
I know people that have like made all of their friends into Tamagotchis and then like put them into the world and been like, and then I would hear them telling stories about their Tamagotchis to their other friends, being like, "Dude, last night you tried to fucking French kiss me," and they're like, and you're like, "Shut up, Lawrence, my Tamagotchi."
I'm not into it or whatever.
My Tamagotchi did it, yeah, and that was weird to hear that people were. I mean, like I get it, it makes sense, but and it's sort of a fun game that you kind of play in your spare time. It could be like a mobile game that you play, 5-10 minutes or whatever, which I thought was kind of cool if you're into that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I'm not, to be honest. I played it for a little bit, and after a while I was just like, all I'm doing is logging in to see if something weird happens.
Yeah.
And, but I will at least give Nintendo credit for coming up with I guess it's too Sims like to say it's kind of a new kind of game, but certainly something that nothing else like it came out this year.
Yeah.
So there's some value.
You're literally boring Bruce. With
No.
I can hear him yawning.
It's not.
He's like, yeah, it's really good.
It's not Lawrence. It's not Lawrence.
Good job, Nintendo.
Other notables, at least, that made certain splashes in certain circles. There was Shovel Knight, which was a very loved retro platform.
We tried to play it.
That was for a podcast.
Yeah, and it kind of bored us, or at least it bored me.
it was what it is, which is a throwback.
Yeah, definitely. It's
made by
I said
like
it before. I feel like a lot of people who've played games for most of their lives, some of them have gotten bored. Within the last 5 years, they've gotten bored. And so a game like Shovel Knight comes out, which is basically just like it plays well, but what really is it? They're like, oh my god, greatest game I've played in forever. It's like, I think you're just kind of remembering.
It was an exceptional Nintendo game. And that was really awesome. Divinity Original Sin actually was really fucking good. It was.
Give me a miss that on.
Yeah, it was a PC game. It was a very core, like, circa 1996 PC RPG. And they don't make those anymore, really, unless they're kickstarted. So it was kind of interesting that, especially on the Divinity franchise, of all things, that we got one of those kinds of games. And it was co-op all the way through, which I thought was pretty cool. And it was it's definitely along the lines of it being like a 1990s PC RPG. You probably are going to have to start it over a few times to get a really good, like, momentum strong head start.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, it's one of those things where if you don't get the right amount of gold, you don't get the right equipment, you don't know where to go, you don't know what quests to do, you'll probably end up wasting a lot of time and not get the best start. Now let's see what else we got here. Firefall came out this year.
I didn't even know that. I've been hearing about Firefall for 3 years.
Longer than that. It's sad.
Kind of released to a fizzle. Ultra Street Fighter 4.
You're just reading a list now.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, boy.
YouTube sensation.
No, I mean, we're talking about best game.
So, no, you're right, but maybe,
is it worth mentioning?
I think
worth spending a couple minutes on.
No, I think it's worth spending a couple minutes on because, and I could be wrong about this. I feel like Five Nights is the first game that was specifically made for YouTubers.
First?
Am I wrong?
No, I think it's not bad.
No, it is definitely the beginning of this revolution of said games. Because like, what's that other game that came out this year?
Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
Daylight?
Daylight was the one.
Yeah.
The developer flat out told us, this is made for PewDiePie.
Yep.
This is so people will play it, and it has unlimited replay value because it's procedurally generated. Like, it's for YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, that's a thing now. There are games that are like Bad Rats 2 got announced, or whatever.
There's stream games too.
Stream games?
Steam game. Or Steam streaming?
Games made for streaming.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like where you're playing it and the chat will control like what happens in the game.
Gotcha.
They'll spawn bosses with certain abilities or stuff like
That's
So,
cool.
yeah, so the more interesting thing about Five Nights at Freddy's, I mean, we can talk about the game design all you want, but like really you can watch any YouTube video and really break it down
Yeah.
of what it is. Sure. It's more interesting to me that people are, whether he knew it or not, the guy who made it, they're making games that are getting guys like Markiplier, can't talk, millions of views on a video, you know, and I don't know how that's translating to sales, but
Good point.
I mean, I'm sure it is. The reason I say that is because of Chaser and Uber Soldier and like people. I'm serious. People tweeting us saying, "I bought this game," and we're
until-
like, "No, don't do it." And they buy it anyway.
I know those are single. I want to see hard data of like the sort of numbers that what it translates to. So like, I really like that. I always think of the Happy Wheels guy. He was like, PewDiePie's making millions off of my game, and I'm making nothing because it's a free Flash game, and not just PewDiePie, but you know everybody. So I really wanted the Five Nights at Freddy's guys like breaking it in, or it's just doing okay. It's more of a game to watch rather than to play.
Well, think of it this way: Five Nights at Freddy's wouldn't have gotten any PR had YouTube not been on it. I mean, like it's
No,
not like that would have
yeah.
been a word of mouth thing where like you're like you gotta play this game. It's not like that at all. It's more fun to watch.
Yeah.
And just like we saw with Chaser, Chaser isn't even fun to watch, and people bought that game.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like I'm not saying he's raking it in, but I'm saying it's probably better for him that it got big on YouTube than not. Then it was just a normal game with a normal release. So that's kind of the way I
This
feel
game is
about it.
garbage, by the way.
No, it's fucking awesome.
Now it's running. Oh,
Ooh,
it's going at like 2 frames a
I'm
second.
dropping a few frames. It's okay.
It's awful.
All right, well, this is coming in kind of. The reason I hesitated to bring this particular game up is it came out so recently, so I don't know. Like, it may just be fresh in my mind, but Geometry Wars 3 is really fucking good.
Yeah.
So it borrows a lot from Dimensions, which is a game almost nobody played. Namely, in that it's separating the Geometry Wars experience into stages, at least in the single player. But the stage design is really phenomenal. God, what was it called? There was a shooter that launched with the Wii U called something Neo. Anyway, it's like that.
Path of Neo.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's Path of Neo. So instead of it just being a square, rectangle, or whatever, the stages are now 3-dimensional. So you basically fly around these weird toroids in space, and the bullets wrap around and the enemies wrap around.
Sure.
So it's a trip because there was a boss fight that was on a cube basically, and the camera would only shift to another side of the cube when you popped over an edge. So you had no idea if there were enemies just waiting for you right on the corner.
Cool.
And it was nuts. It was terrifying. And the boss would like fly around every corner of it, spewing bullets everywhere.
I mean, I had fun playing it here, but it was really laggy.
Yeah,
Kinda like
sucks
this
you guys
game.
had that exposure to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those games I do need to pick up. It's actually that's one of those fun games that you just like you take a 10-minute break and you just play it.
Yeah, you can go play it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I don't know what you call it, like my game of the year. It's like it's just it's fucking Geometry Wars. What do you expect?
Yeah.
And looks like that'll do it
Really?
for an Inside Gaming podcast. Any final points, comments?
Well, yeah, no,
thought
we
we were talking about
got to deliberate game of the year.
Well, I was gonna say game of the year, and then I want to talk. I guess we can talk about it later.
what is that?
I was gonna say biggest disappointments of the year,
Oh, yeah.
but no, I'm like I have bigger things I want to talk about, like just award shows in general. And I feel like that's probably a whole other podcast.
Well, we got
like-
to make another podcast for the break. So
Yeah, well, hey, that might be it. Like, I'll tease a little bit. Why have an award category for best remaster?
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know if the special edition of Jurassic Park comes out to give an award, you know, like.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Nice.
That's true. That's a good point.
anyway, I can talk about that for an hour. So we'll save that for another time.
Well, so I don't know if we should deliberate on our game of the year among all of us because can we come to a consensus?
I think it might be Wolfenstein.
I think it might be Wolfenstein.
I think you might be right, actually.
Was it that easy?
I really
Well, no
like-
one else played Far Cry, so I can't.
Yeah, this is
I played it for like
the
2.5
Inside
hours.
Gaming general consensus of everything we've played.
Yeah, right.
So
You know what I would say? I'd say, you know what? Break it up into 2 games. You want for best single player,
Wolf and Fall,
Fall. Yeah, and then if you want to play good multiplayer,
Titan Cry.
Titan Cry.
God, we're good at video games.
But I guess regardless, it was just like this year overall. And I'm not saying this in a bad way. Is like it's kind of disappointing.
What, really?
I don't think so.
I feel like this year was great.
Yeah, compared to last year?
I don't know why. I maybe I just didn't get the maybe.
Oh, that's what it is.
you know,
that's what I'm saying. It's disappointing for Adam specifically.
Yeah, I guess I'm just saying like the things I was really looking forward to didn't really live up to what I wanted them to be. Destiny was more or less of what I thought it was going to be, and I enjoyed it for what it was. But I guess maybe I'm more disappointed in how disappointed people were in it. And then in dumb little things like, we talked about this last time, the raids and the Vault of Glass sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And just the DLC structure, that sort of stuff. Like, it's just been, I feel like I've just been shaking my head more this year. Just being like, God damn it, like, why can't we get this right?
Well, all the launch problems really bugged me, which and actually, it's funny because I'm kind of glad I'm not the kind of person that plays a game right at launch because had I been 17 or 18 and all these games coming out, I would have been that kind of person. I mean, like, oh my God, like, trying to play every game and then they're broken every single time. I would have been pissed.
Such a cock team.
I would have been pissed. So I think that's one thing that we can say absolutely disappointed about were the launches of games.
I would say the disappointments come from the bad launches and a lot of games getting delayed that I was really looking forward to.
Oh yeah.
So, namely like Witcher and Batman and stuff like that, where I'm just like, geez, like really, really long delays. But at the end of the day, I know it's to make them better, so I'm not gonna cry about it. And God, I just hope the Halo beta works for Halo 5. Because I'm gonna play a shitload of that over the holiday. So yeah, what do you expect?
All right, well, there you have it. 2014, Wolfenstein: The New Order.
What? Game of the year.
We did it.
Yeah, you know what? Congratulations, Bethesda. Your award is in the mail.
No, it's not. We didn't mail an award.
We didn't do awards this year.
Yeah, we didn't mail an award.
I don't know. You want an award? You want to make
peeing
one?
in a jar. We can just send that.
All right,
Ugh.
send it over.
Anyway,
Yeah, it's like a different color now.
hope everyone's enjoying their holiday. Sorry for the I guess
Merry Crambus.
the Christmas themed podcast. Sorry about that.
What are you apologizing for?
This is Christmas theme.
I'm apologizing to Joel.
We sang Christmas songs at the very beginning, and now we're singing at the end.
And now the game's getting corrupt. Excellent.
Cool.
It's a good out. Thank you for listening, guys.
Yes, and before we go, just a reminder, this podcast is sponsored by Crunchyroll. It's the last time you'll hear from Future Lawrence, but he has to tell you that this podcast has been sponsored by Crunchyroll, who offers an unlimited anime subscription. For $6.95 a month, you can watch 1080p streamed, professionally subtitled, sometimes as soon as an hour after its premiere in Japan. Just go to crunchyroll.com/inside and get a free 30-day trial. That's crunchyroll.com/inside. Thank you, Crunchyroll. And thank you, viewer. Hopefully you're have had, or will have a wonderful holiday.
Yeah. The thing I was apologizing for earlier, but I'm completely losing my track of thought in any way because I'm playing a video game. How many videos, Bruce, have we completed in the last 30 days?
Oh, so we're gonna have delivered. We're gonna have to do so in. Let's see here. In 3 weeks, we're gonna have made 60 videos.
Oh boy.
So
Yeah.
and so all the stuff you're watching right now on the break is stuff we made a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we did it honestly because like we could have copped out and been like, oh, we made 1 or 2 videos on the channel, 1 or 2 videos for the main Machinima channel, but we didn't want to do that because we know, number one, you guys are going to be on your break and hopefully watching our videos.
Yeah.
And number two, because we're hard workers. And that's what we do.
Also, just tossing this out here, we're going to probably try and play games together just for fun over the holidays.
Absolutely.
So keep an eye out for that.
We don't game for fun anymore. We're jaded and cynical.
Already? We have to do it from
No, we're not jaded or cynical.
Yeah, we are.
I was going to say, if anyone's like, man, they seem really tired, it's like, well, everyone here is killing themselves
Yep.
to get stuff done so everyone else can enjoy their vacations. And I will, is this going to be the last one of the year? No, we have one more.
Actually, yes. The next one is January 1st.
Yeah, the next
Really?
one's New Year's Day.
And I can't say, obviously we can't say much because we're still always working on stuff, but we're trying to make next year even better. We always want to make good, amazing content. Are we at the end of the game?
I think you are.
We are.
I think he rips his shirt off.
You probably have to beat him up a little bit.
But regardless,
golf clubs.
you're starting to see some of the stuff. We have been talking more about like doing more podcasts and doing more
Courageously standing on the other end of a room and shooting an old man.
getting gameplays up on the channel, doing more videos, obviously stuff you guys want to see. So we're working on that. We're working really hard for you guys because we really appreciate you guys watching our stuff. So thank you
Thank you.
and listening. with
You're
your- with your
our
ears.
Christmas gift.
Yeah.
No, they're not, because I actually got a Christmas gift.
One last thing. I did want to mention this. I'm sorry.
How many last things?
I keep forgetting this because we're playing video games. My brain is broken. I was scrolling through my podcast app on my phone. We're not very high up. So if you could do us a favor and download this episode, even if you listen to it on YouTube, just download it, subscribe to it. I want to see us bump up on the feed. I want to see us get a little higher. We can beat some of these guys, right?
Which feed?
guess so.
Which feed are you talking about?
It was like best in games or whatever. It was like,
Oh, like iTunes? Or-
it was like Stitcher or
okay. All right.
some podcast app, but like, hey, download us.
So,
That'd be nice.
so download the file and then just leave it on your computer forever.
I'm curious to see
Don't
if
listen to it. Just leave it on your computer.
I'm curious to see if we can persuade our audience to help us. I just like seeing.
I would like to see us in a higher number, higher rank.
I trust in our fans.
Yeah.
And I love you guys. Fucking hate this game.
Man.
Please, I just want you to keep talking until he rips his shirt off.
Yeah, I think it's once we get his life down, he rips his shirt off.
All right. Well, podcast is over, but
Oh, there you go.
no.
Come on, get him down to the second bar.
But for you YouTube viewers, we'll keep this up for you.
Oh no, this
Here,
is gonna
get-
go into the audio only.
Get back. God damn it!
You guys will just sit and
Get it,
listen
James.
with a
No,
grunt
he
and
didn't. He
Die
didn't,
Hard
rip,
Arcade.
he didn't rip his shirt off.
What the fuck? This
He didn't rip his shirt off.
office is the worst.
No, you gotta
Bullshit.
You gotta take down his entire life bar, and then he's gonna rip his shirt off, and then he'll have another longer life bar.
Also, keep in mind, this isn't his office. This is just an office he took over.
Such an asshole.
You got 5 more credits. Yeah, get in there.
Yeah.
You did your move on.
Boom.
What?
Do it.
Take that, Snape.
I'm really excited. I've never seen the end of Die Hard Arcade.
Really?
Oh my
I didn't.
God,
I did
Adam.
not. I was just
There we
getting
go.
out.
That shirt comes
See?
off.
I think it does.
Alright, please take another 30 or 40 comments.
Yeah, he's gonna power up. Yeah, see? He's running away.
I was gonna say we can probably get a gameplay out of this.
We already did.
Oh, that's what I mean,
There's a lot of tips and tricks I wanted to
There
shout
we
out.
go.
Yeah. A lot of tips and tricks I wanted to shout out while we were playing this, but
I could.
Loot Crate sponsor card. And
Well,
the helicopter's gonna shoot us.
Yeah. Well, I just remember Lawrence being like, "You don't have to use your brain at all." Like, we're gonna be very distracted playing this.
yeah.
I have to go. Yeah, continue. Lawrence, do you want to play?
No.
I gotta go.
Yeah, I do too.
Look, there's a sword in me. Like, I'm not using it as a weapon. It's just
Oh,
in
sorry. Damn it.
Alright, I gotta go.
No, I can't do this on my own.
Sorry.
The motivation behind the violence. So, like with Wolfenstein, you're killing Nazis, which is widely accepted across the entire
Well,
world.
actually, we were just talking about that today about Wolfenstein. You're kind of playing as a terrorist.
Oh, you
In that
absolutely
game.
are.
Yeah.
To the Nazis, yeah, you're a terrorist to the Nazis. But again, we can all see.
You
Okay,
attack civilian targets in that game sometimes.
You killed civilians.
Still.
but they're Nazis.
The ultimate nemesis is against the Nazis.
Yeah.
Mecha Nazi.
Well, yeah, but I mean, yes, in the context of that game, though, it's kind of funny. Like we were talking about that, where it's like you asked the question, well, what would have happened if the Nazis won World War II? It's like, well, they'd be considered the good guys.
Yeah.
And so, like in this game, like I'm not saying Nazis are good. Believe me, not at all. But in this world that they've created, no, Nazis are like the worst things to ever exist in all of humanity.